Welcome to the Brent Weinbach podcast. My name is Brent Weinbach, and I'm here with stand-up comedian Rob Cantrell.
Hi.
Hi, and welcome. And Rob. For people who don't know, Rob Cantrell is one of my favorite comedians. And when I started in San Francisco in the early 2000s, Rob was one of the I would say he's one of the two local influences on me. Even though Rob, I think you'd probably only been doing comedy a couple of years, at that time, or maybe a few years at that time. But I wanted to. You and Arj Barker were the people that I wanted to emulate. When I kind of was. I wanted to. Whatever energy you guys were bringing to the stage, I kind of wanted to channel that myself, and I kind of wanted to. I mean, it's probably not that apparent in what I do, but I was influenced by you a lot,
Oh,
and
Brent,
Arj,
thank
yeah.
you, man. You were such a legend. I mean, you came out. I don't know. I always respected you, Brent. You always approached comedy as an art form. Like you really, from the beginning, you kind of understood that. And that's what I appreciated you the most out of you, how you presented yourself and how you took a different angle than everybody else and always try to keep it as original as possible. So,
Well,
man, that's a huge compliment coming from a talent like you, an original talent
well, you
like
had
you.
this level of commitment, I think, that I admired, and I wanted to. That's something that one of the things I wanted to emulate. You also had this kind of intense energy, and I kind of wanted to do that too, or I liked, I thought it was the level of commitment and the energy was something that was really hilarious to me. And that kind of, that rubbed off on me. But,
Oh, thanks,
actually the first time I met you, I kind of, I said something really embarrassing to you. Actually, I don't. Do you remember the first time we met? And I don't even want to. I'm not going to even say what I said or really talk. If you don't even remember, and if you don't remember me saying anything that was off-putting, then I'm not going to even say what it was. But
yeah, I don't remember. And no, I have no idea. I think I remember the first time meeting you at the Punchline, possibly. Maybe, I mean,
definitely.
there was only those 7 places that we all did, you got in there. The Brainwash Cafe, RIP, I heard.
Oh
But
yeah, yeah.
I think it was either the Brainwash or maybe the One World. There was another cool coffee shop, but no, was it bad? No, no,
It was kind of bad in a way. I mean, it was just stupid. It was right before. Okay, so I went to the Punchline on the Sunday night, and I saw you perform there. And it was the week before I started doing open mics. I was messing around a little bit before that, but it was when I started kind of just going out a lot to open mics and stuff. It was the week before that, and you were my favorite comedian on that Sunday night lineup. And I went up to you afterwards and complimented you, but I don't know. I don't know. I was so stupid. I don't know why I said this, but I for some reason was trying to I don't know, offer some kind of critique or something like that. It was so lame, and it was one of my lamest moments, um and I think about that now, and I think that was so stupid, and I wish I didn't. And I'm glad you don't even remember it, actually.
don't even remember it, Brent. I just remember how no, you've always had it. Your intensity was very creative and very curious. You've always been intensely curious. And so yeah, so any of the technical questions about comedy that came from you, I would probably be psyched. Um,
Well, I just was kind of I was giving you this almost review of your act and or something like that, and it was just, I don't know, it was just stupid
Yeah, I
because
did the same thing to Arj Barker. All those San Francisco, W. Kamau Bell, Al Madrigal. When I got to San Francisco in '99, so I ran into you probably in 2001, Space Odyssey, and so yeah, I did the same thing. It's so hard breaking into a new scene, a new art form, and it's stand up, and definitely back then stand up was kind of undercover, like you had to figure it out.
Well, did you move to San Francisco specifically to be a stand-up comedian, or did it you fall into that moving there for some other reason?
Yeah, I moved to California and I did have it in my mind that I was going to perform stand up
Uh-huh.
or go into some type of entertain. I had such a salesy like type job, but was always highly creative, English major, hung out with kind of the arty kids, but also hung out with just about everybody. But then there was something in my gut that was like, I got to do stand. I don't know. I just saw the tide coming, and I always loved comedy. I would say I was a comedy nerd, but I didn't. 80s stand up was really bunk, and even the early 90s, it really wasn't until like that alternative wave, David Cross, and a lot of that San Francisco scene started to turn the tide that it got really interesting to me. Um,
Did
and
so
when I got to San Francisco, it was by chance. I landed in California after like traveling for 1 year after quitting a job after 3 years. And somebody had a cheap room in North Beach for $500. And I literally opened the SF Weekly and I looked up open mics and I circled one and I went to it. And that was it.
which one was it? The luggage store or something?
Yeah, it was the luggage store. And I had my first like non-corporate job out of that. Like I was just like working at Lombardi's Sporting Good. And I also worked the door at this bar that my buddy was a bartender at. And then I went to, yeah, the Market Street, the luggage store, which was such a weird art scene. I don't know if it's an art scene, but all cities have like these B room where, weirdo art gets put up, and that was definitely some out there San Francisco art, and they had a weird open mic, and that's where we all start. I mean, there was no mic, it was
No
just a
mic, yeah,
room.
no mic. You just had to go Letterman style, you know.
Yeah,
They
you
were
had to
training.
go.
They were training you to be on Letterman at the luggage store. You know.
Yeah, there was completely, and also there was a lot of gay erotic art on the wall, and three homeless people that were jonesing for methadone in the audience, but they usually you were made good audience members.
So what were you were in Washington D.C. before that or something, right?
Yeah, I grew up in DC and Virginia.
And then
So I
and
was in Washington D.C. before
you
that.
you had a corporate job before moving to San Francisco.
Yeah, I worked after graduating from college with an English degree, and I just pretty much had fun in college, and I had a blast. But I waited tables since I was like 19, so all through college I waited tables. Yeah, I just didn't know how to get into comedy. There was no blueprint for that, and I didn't know anybody that did it. And so yeah, I went home and I didn't want to go back to like waiting tables. So my friend had a sales job. So I did that. They were nice enough, but I worked my ass off for like 3 years and I was just really unhappy. I made decent money, not like a ton, but enough to like move out of my mom's house and live with a couple friends right in DC and stuff. But I wasn't creative and it wasn't cool. And yeah, and then I traveled. I sold I sold everything I had $10,000 and backpacked for a year all throughout Southeast Asia, and then ended up in California. In LA, I had some friends in one of those like Huntington Beach, and then I had another college friend that had a cheap room in San Francisco, and that's how, yeah,
Yeah.
'99 is when I started.
Had you written stuff down before you went to that open mic? I mean, or did you think, okay, I can talk about this kind of stuff, or did you have bits at all, or?
No, it was I messed up. Just it was by chance. Like I thought when you signed, like because it was free, I was like, this is free, but there was a sign up sheet. So I thought just signing your name at the luggage store was mean you just got to go in. And then the dude called my name. And then I went right up and I had no material, Brent. I had no material,
So
but I
you
had
didn't have anything planned at all to talk about.
nothing,
Okay.
nothing. And I hadn't seen anything either. I hadn't been to the punchline. I just been, I was just in Cambodia and I was just in Thailand backpack. I had a lot of confidence and I had also a lot of gumption to really go for it and try to make it as an artist and try to figure out show business in any which way, whether it was a funky radio show or working for a band or acting, you know. But the minute I figured out stand up, it definitely clicked. Like I could do this thing, I could figure it out. But I also always knew how hard it was. And but yeah, I had nothing planned, and I had a great set. I had one of the best sets of my life, and I was completely honest about who I was. I said, "Hey, this is who I am. I came here from DC. I went through this, that, and the other, and I just had some stories about life." And then I got off, but I got laughs like kind of the whole time because it was so bugged out, and I was so excited to be, you know. I definitely think stand up, I have an adrenaline junkie type of thing to it. Like I've learned as I gotten older, like, oh, I think a lot of the hardcore stand up that I did early on in my life, you know, a lot of it was just, you know, adrenaline.
Yeah, I
And I
mean,
love being creative, but there is like this buzz to it all.
well, do you get kind of so you get kind of hyped up on you get kind of yeah, hyped up on stage or something. I mean, I don't know, it kind of comes through in the performance, you know,
I
but
definitely come alive and I love performing.
and that happened that first time when you
That happened that first time. And then I went to the brainwash and it had a real microphone. And I went up with all this confidence and I followed John Hugation, like you know, all these early dudes that I remember. And I bombed so bad. Like I ended up being mad at the audience. I walked off early. It was like one of those open mics, like, oh, that guy. Like nobody was listening to me. Like, yeah, it was one of those crowds where you just walk into it, everybody's just like not even listening to the bad comedy that's going on in the back of the room. Like it was just bad.
and who I remember you asking you this before, but John Hugasian, he was an influence on a local influence on you. It sounded
Yeah,
like.
I would definitely say he was an inspiration because yeah, he you know, he was handicapped, but he would bomb so bad. Like I think I saw the beginning. Like he would bomb so bad, and then I just saw him learning how to write jokes. And he was already like 9 months in, so he was already kind of figuring that out. And I saw him go from bombing to like cold crushing, like within, you know, that time where people, when you first learn how to do it, you know, that's a really fun time.
I didn't realize. I didn't realize he started around the time that you started. I thought he was old, you know, had started before or something like that. Oh, that's
Maybe like
interesting.
1 or 2 years, but even to
Yeah.
like Al and W. Kamau Bell and those guys, he was like a younger comic.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And who else did you like, or who kind of rubbed off on you? I mean, who did you try to? I mean, I feel like we all kind of try to emulate somebody. I mean, you know, I had people that I saw on TV and stuff that I liked that I kind of wanted to kind of follow in a certain way. But like I said, there was these local guys that you know rubbed off on me. Who I guess who was like that for you? Like on TV before you started,
Yeah,
seeing
Eddie
people.
Murphy. Yeah, the Eddie Murphy delirious. Like I was born in 72, Brent. You know,
Yeah.
that's the whole thing is like I'm Gen X to the core. So all the stuff like people make fun of, I really, or not make fun of, is like I saw it when it really happened and there was a real emotional connection to it. So delirious and even HBO being a thing had a huge impact on me, like
Yeah.
huge.
Oh, HBO for me too. I mean, the one night stands. I mean, there were a couple one night stands in particular that really resonated with me. You know, one
Yeah,
of
which
those
ones was that?
Charles Fleischer's one.
Yeah, he's amazing. I love Charles Fleischer. I never saw his special.
It's really good. Some really creative bits, really visceral. You know, just a lot of I don't know. Just it was interesting to watch. You know, you
Did he
just
have
wanted
a
to watch it.
sketch? That's the thing I always loved about the original like 80s well-produced stand-up specials. Like they would have a sketch.
Yeah, he did have a sketch. It was like he was on a sort of a farm or something like that, or there was some kind of cow involved, I think, or something, you know.
Charles Fleischer on the farm is even funny right there.
And
Do you ever run into him in LA? He's alive, isn't he?
yeah, I did a random show with him at the Improv once, and he was still doing his thing, and I probably seen him around twice, maybe in Los
Yeah,
Angeles.
yeah, yeah. It's very
But
rare.
I mean, I met him briefly, but I didn't really, get into it with him. Or, I didn't tell him, oh, I actually you're, big influence on me and stuff. But his and
Did
Mark
you
Kurt.
like him when you were young? Did you follow him?
Well, I liked that special a lot. I thought that was, I mean, I was kind of imitating those bits. I was kind of trying to tell them the bits, retell the bits to kids at school and stuff. And I mean, Roger Rabbit was. I don't know if I even put it together at the time that he was the same guy as Roger Rabbit, but I
What a
don't know.
great gig.
Yeah,
Just to
no,
score that movie. I was around when that was big, so that
yeah.
was like one of the biggest movie hits in Hollywood in a minute.
1988. Yeah,
So yeah, just his trajectory and then getting that and yeah, I
but
have a couple like older smart friends that were all about Charles Fleischer that, even back in the day they followed him.
I mean, Mark Curry's One Night Stand was really good too. That one, I imitated that too. I was kind of just he did his sketch in the beginning was he's trying to get into the venue and the security guard's not letting him in, so he has these different characters that he tries to do to get into to disguise himself or whatever.
Classic,
And
always fun.
yeah, those were and he I did meet. I mean, I met him a couple times. One of them was pretty embarrassing, but the other time wasn't as embarrassing though, because I opened for him once at the Punchline, and I had a really bad set, and he kept me on stage after I introduced him. It was just a 2-man show, and he kind of talked about my set on stage. Maybe it was payback for when I was talking to you about your set or something, after. But it was
Yeah, he was analyzing you.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to get, yeah.
it was embarrassing though because I had a bad set too.
Yeah, and opening at the punch, sometimes it goes down like that. I've had bad sets. I've had also great sets, but yeah, it kind of runs the gamut.
What's the worst
But
set you ever had? You ever had stuff thrown at you?
yeah, somebody spit at me.
Someone spit at me too once.
Yeah, I got
Someone
spit
just
at.
went like this. It was a fat one. They fortunately missed me. It went right over my shoulder. But did you get hit?
No, I didn't get hit.
Okay,
No, and
good.
it was opening for like a really aggressive, like hardcore band,
Oh,
and they
really?
weren't expecting comedy.
Oh, where was that? What was that?
It was this great band, Dub Trio. They actually they're like known as like some of the best like bass and dub, but it's like hardcore. It's kind of like Bad Brains, but it's like these three Canadian like music nerds. They backed up Modest Yahoo like on all these classic records, and they also like were studio guys. Like I think they did all the guitar work for 50 Cent, like all this stuff that's like major New York music production. So they were heavy, but they had super nerdy fans, and
They didn't want to see stand up or
they
whatever.
didn't want to see stand up, and it was like this free show for this like underground album, and I knew the manager and I knew those guys. It's too bad because I turned on their crowd a bit and
Hmm.
called them out as I was just like, you hipster nerd. I just went off on them. And the dude was like on speed and like spit at me. It was weird. It was just like one of those, started the set, it went weird, and then blah, blah, and then I went off and I was like, God, that sucked. And then the band went right on and they just were like just
Yeah.
this like almost Meshuggah, or like they would go from like super dub reggae to like death metal. Like they were out there, but
Well,
musician wise amazing, and they have a couple albums that have ill bass lines that I love.
was that in New York or was that and
It
was
was
that
in Brooklyn. Yeah,
okay?
deep
And
Brooklyn,
that
deep
was not
hipster Brooklyn, 2005. Like even before the alternative comedy boom. Like it was before Hannibal or anybody showed up like that. Like
uh-huh.
it was early on.
Why
Like
did
right
you
when I kind of left California in 2005, I came to Brooklyn.
yeah.
That
Actually,
was like an early show.
I mean, Last Comic Standing was kind of a motivator for you, I guess. When you got that, that's why you moved to New York eventually, right? Or something.
That's why I moved to LA. Yeah.
Oh,
And
so
I
you
got
actually lived in Los Angeles for a little bit from because of that show.
because of that show. Yeah.
How did you like living in Los Angeles?
I liked it. I did. But my management was weird, and the crew that I was, that I was put together with, it just didn't work out. And it was very early on in my career, but I love California, Brent. I love California. And I love the weather. I love the people. LA is fun, but it's big leagues. And I was only like 3 years in. I wasn't like a theater kid. So coming back to New York, like during the pandemic, I pivoted towards acting and started taking that a lot more serious, and New York has just made me a little bit more professional, and I needed that. So I loved California, but I just felt like there was no stage time, and I was just like my comedy would be not as good as if I came here.
The
And then
you
I
know
got married here, and I had a kid here, and now I'm in my 50s here, 50 plus,
you know
still rocking it out.
you still have a youthful. I mean, you don't seem, you still seem this, I don't know, you still seem as youthful as ever, I think, seems.
Thank you, Brent. Thank you.
I mean,
Because with performance, it doesn't matter. I mean, you just,
right.
you
Um,
could kick that vibe.
you doing Last Comic Standing kind of that made me do it, or made me try to do it. It made me audition because when it first came around and I heard about it, I thought, oh, this, I don't know, I thought it sounded corny to do like a reality show or something, and
100%.
so I didn't, I wasn't interested. And then you got on the show and you looked really good on it. I mean, they didn't, I don't know, maybe the producers liked you or something, but they edited you in a way that I thought, oh, he came off really cool and it was a good showcase for you to just be funny and I don't know, just come across in a cool way. And I thought, okay, Rob did it and, he's cool now. So anyway, the next year I did audition for it only because you looked cool on it and you did it. And, you kind of
Oh, thanks.
legitimized
I
it.
mean, I don't know. I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
No, yeah.
Uh,
Well,
what was your experience like? Did you like doing it?
I didn't get on the show. I mean, I just, I auditioned for it maybe five different years after that or something like that. But I wouldn't have done that if you hadn't gone on the show and looked
Uh,
cool on the show or whatever.
that was
Um,
that. Oh, thanks, man. I don't know. That was a bizarre ride on the far side for sure. And definitely, I kind of knew it was cheesy. And, I don't really respect reality shows that much, but I'm not shitting on the experience at all. Like, it was a lot of fun. And for a guy that was 3 years into comedy, perfect,
yeah,
Um,
no, you looked it. I mean, you made it seem cool actually. When I heard about the concept of the show, I wasn't, it didn't seem like it would be something I would like, but you made it something that, I think people would want to watch and stuff, because it seemed cool.
oh, thanks, man. Yeah. It was 2003 before the internet. So it was the first time stand up was on prime time. But it was, comedy competitions, it's just kind of there, there's an evilness to it. I don't know. I'm not into art and competition like show. I don't know. I have a little bit of a weird feeling about Last Comic Standing. Like, I'm glad it's kind of gone away in a lot of ways.
Uh-huh. But you do have a special place for it too, because I don't know,
Yeah,
maybe kind of
especially
took you to the.
2003. I definitely have a special place in the summer 2003. Like, yeah, I was on television and everything was moving, and I got to do a lot more stand up. And yeah, it was a bless. That's the weird thing. It was kind of like a blessing, not a curse, but just it's a little bit of your first cheesy gig in showbiz.
Are you still friends with the people you did it with, and do you have a special connection with them?
Yeah, I mean, Ralphie, I always loved. Ralphie May was my season, so yeah, I always had a good connection, and he was my year. We were the same age. There was a lot of weird stuff with Ralphie and I that Sean Rouse that I used to open for and knew was good friends with Ralphie. So right before the show we met, and I always got along with him. And so that was the one guy I did. And then I ended up touring with Jay Moore and actually Bert Kreischer. But I mean, but those guys were just, yeah, Jay was starting to steal my material. I had to call him out. I don't really want to go into it too much, but
Oh,
like
right.
that
Yeah.
relationship kind of burned out. And that was one of the reasons, like, I just took off from LA and just started over. With show business, you have to like completely start over.
he started. I mean, did you drop those bits when he did that, or did you continue to do the bits?
I continued to do it and he denied it. It was like one of those things.
Yeah,
So it's any man's call in some ways. But no, he was doing it. That's the real truth. But I don't really want to put it all out there like that, especially 20 years later. And especially since it was like a good opportunity to get on the show. So it's kind
sure.
of a little bit of a complex feeling for me.
Sure, yeah. I mean, well, going back even further, what were you were you funny in high school? I mean, were you I don't know, were you making jokes in class and stuff or what? Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I was the funniest. Like I definitely hung out with a couple of the funniest guys always obnoxious in high school
Uh-huh.
and a little too much. But I definitely appreciated comedy and I could hold my own and be funny. Yeah.
Did your
I would
friends
say I
say,
wasn't the funniest, but I was the second funniest. And I always thought I was a little bit smarter and more creative than the funniest.
uh-huh. What were you what was your style in high school? You know, were you a hesher? I mean, I mean,
I never have been a
were
roaster, but I would rag on the bully. So, my one best friend who's the funniest, and he was from North Carolina, and he was this funny kid in high school, but he looked like Kenny Powers. Who's the actor that does Kenny Powers?
Danny McBride.
He's exactly like Danny McBride, has the same accent, same attitude, but he had orange hair. He had big orange red hair. He had a big orange fro, actually. And then he had no shoulders and he was big and he was funny as shit. He had this big country accent and he was kind of a bully, but he was funny with it. But I called him Grimace one day and it just stuck. Like everybody from that moment on, I said, shut up, you big fat Grimace, like this. And he just had this orange, he just looked like Grimace. So yeah, then my buddy Graham. But yeah, I always had really silly, kind of funny guys. And then I liked the music guys. I always liked the music nerds. So there was a lot of the alternative music guys that I would like. Yeah, yeah. I guess my frame of reference where I can relate to people is music and comedy. A lot of it.
Well, what was your style? Like, how did you dress and stuff? Did you wear I mean, were you kind of urban or what were you doing? And preppy?
No,
What?
I went to a boarding school in
Oh,
Virginia, and then I come from like a little small, southern Appalachian town, and then I was born in Washington D.C. So I was born in Capitol Hill, 1972, a few blocks from the Capitol in Northeast D.C. in the 70s, and my dad worked for the mayor who was Walter Washington. My dad actually died when I was 10, but he was friends with Marion Barry. And Marion Barry ended up being the mayor of Washington, D.C., that was notoriously found smoking crack.
right.
Uh, but he was a good guy and very smart. And my dad was very early on in city politics in D.C., but then we moved down south when I was 10. And my dad was a Democrat, loved Jimmy Carter. And so I grew up, but he wasn't rich. Like we didn't grow up rich. And my grandfather was a child coal miner. He's from Wise, Virginia, like the southern tip of Virginia. That's where Cantrells are all from. And like my whole family's down there. A lot of creative people, a lot of creative actors and musicians and all this stuff on that side. But they're all from the South. But they're all from the mountains, from like the hillbillies. But my dad loved the arts. So I don't know. This I know I'm kind of rambling, but you kind of want to figure out who I am and where I'm from. It's kind of like DC and then a small town in Virginia and then a little bit of a boarding school in Virginia. So my style was just like jeans, t-shirt, this sweatshirt, kind of
Mhm.
clean cut. I try to keep it together. I try to keep it a little punk rock. I always loved Minor Threat and Fugazi. Like my friends in DC, like my friend Nico that was working with me on my first, like when I did my film Metaphysical Graffiti, he did all the camera work.
Well, that
But
was
he's a
like a
musician in DC, and he played with like Dave Grohl, and he saw like the very first Bad Brains show, like those were the kids that were a little bit older than I was, like in the creative field in DC, like during that whole like kind of Minor Threat, Fugazi stuff. Like that's a little bit a part of me as well.
Well, the metaphysical graffiti that would seem like an '80s hip hop thing or something, or it kind of reminded me of that,
That's, I mean, hip hop is where it's at with me. Like I never was, I would say I always pumped hip hop. I always break danced. That was where when I moved to this small town, Buena Vista, Virginia, when I was 10, hip hop just happened. And my dad just passed away. He died in don't get sad, Brent. He died in his sleep. The only problem, he was driving a car at the time.
That's a joke you do on stage, or
That's a joke that I do on stage. But it's true as well. He died
he fell asleep.
driving. He fell asleep.
He fell asleep
my brother from summer camp. Picking my brother up from sports camp at Virginia Tech.
He hadn't picked up your brother yet, I guess. I take it.
He hadn't picked it. He got up in the morning.
And he fell asleep on the road, huh?
Fell asleep on the road, went off the highway, and ran into the side of the bridge and died instantly.
Wow, jeez. Damn, yeah. That's heavy. Yeah.
It's a little heavy. And yeah, the cop came to my house and told my mom, and it was just me and my mom. So I think a lot of it comes from and my dad was super strict, super strict. My dad was no bullshit. Like he wasn't from the 60s, like he was from the 50s. He was a captain in the Air Force. But he loved the arts. Like he was into opera, he was into Willie Nelson. He had a wide open heart and big brain. And he loved educate. Both my parents, even though I didn't get good grades, they were from the generation of like, you got to go to college. Like you got to go to college by any means necessary. But yeah, my dad died. And then I was so sad, but that's right when hip hop started. And I started breakdancing because I listened to go-go early on in DC. And I went to a public school in DC that was 75% Black. Like my first, from kindergarten to third grade, like I was like one of two white kids. So, and I heard all rappers delight. People used to smoke. We had to take the bus a whole hour. That was the beginning. In DC, I used to have to take the public bus with my brother by myself in 1978 through the roughest city by ourselves to go to this private school. And then my dad lost his job and we couldn't go to the private school anymore. And he put us into the public school close to the house. So I don't know. They say your personality is formed. I've been getting into Carl Jung, is formed into that first 10 years. And that first 10 years was a lot of fun and a good home, but it was a lot of like city chaos and then like blue collar Appalachian town. So when I went to this town, it was kind of culture shock, but I was into hip hop. I started breakdancing and I was the best. And this is when breakdancing exploded. My first job in show business, I used to breakdance to all the other little rednecky towns that were in the Blue Ridge Mountains. So they would bring me to like all these elementary schools when I was like 13 and I would break. So I loved breakdancing. But then I got into high school, and started, doing that whole thing. And I moved away from just listening to hip hop and I started listening to like jam bands a little bit, Grateful Dead, Rolling Stones, all that type of stuff. Or Fish, all that stuff. I guess going to boarding school early too, I started picking up all that stuff.
Oh, okay. So in high school, you were not listening to rap, and you just.
No, I was definitely.
Oh, you were still okay.
I was definitely. I would say the NWA album had just came out. EPMD, Public Enemy, 1989 was sophomore year. So that, Do the Right Thing. I went to the screening of Do the Right Thing. I guess I was always pumping beats. Breaking stopped being cool in 86, but I always had, if somebody showed me a good hip hop album, I'd be all about it. And the Beasties, so my very first concert was in I talk about it on my album that's on 800 Pound Gorilla called Pure Uncut Joy, but it was called the Fresh Festival, and this was in 1984, and the lineup was Grandmaster Flash, Houdini, Run DMC on their second album, and the Fat Boys. And it was the first time hip hop had ever touched Virginia, like in a arena. It was the first time, and they stopped doing it because it got too big. But then the second year, and I went to that by myself. My mom drove me by myself to this concert, and I was fully in my breakdance gear. And I saw Houdini. I saw the dudes that do Freaks come out at night. That was my first concert, was like the happiest hip hop before violence, before guns, before everything, just pure. And that's why I call it my album, Pure Uncut Joy. Like there was, when you get something right at the beginning, it's just so much fun. And so, but that was the next year, it got a little bit more popular. So in 86, we saw the Raising Hell tour with like 7 kids from my town. And there was a mom with us. My mom let me go in by myself, but this mom wouldn't let us go by herself. But it was, but I'll just say this. It was Run DMC, LL Cool J, and Houdini. And I had never heard of this band before. And we were just like these redneck kids from Virginia. And the house lights go down. I would say the audience was like 75% Black. The house lights go down. This is in Richmond, Virginia now at the arena. And they go, from money making Manhattan, before it, just the Beastie Boys. These 3 17-year-olds just go on stage just with the best beats, just killing for like 3 songs. They do Slow and Low, Hold It Now, Hit It, and like Brass Monkey, and that's it. And that was their set before License to Ill come out. And I saw it, and they just killed in front of this audience. So that was a very early on. So I guess I always had a love for the golden age of hip hop, I would say. And then in high school, I'm trying to think, like Public Enemy, I didn't see those shows, but I definitely loved those first few Public Enemy albums, as well as the EPMD. I was pumping that constantly. And then all the NWA stuff started rolling out. And I heard that's the Eazy-E album very early on. But I also listened to metal. Like I liked all the metal kids. Like I listened to Iron Maiden. I listened to Slayer. But I wouldn't even be into that stuff. I like the graphic design. Like metal covers have like some of the sickest art in the world, man. And I like art. I like good graphic design.
Do you think about the past a lot, or only because I'm asking about it?
I'm trying now. Like these days I'm meditating and definitely on my Eckhart Tolle, I'm definitely in the moment.
Okay.
And breathing. And I got my Tai Chi book. I'm all about Tai Chi. I'm playing guitar.
Do
I think about the past? I love the San Francisco days. I would say that.
Oh,
like
so you
those
think
early
about
days, and I was in a
90s.
band with my buddy Dan Crawford, R.I.P., and Harmon Leon. Like we had this great little comedy band. I was experimenting. That was right when everything was exploding, and I would say I would think of those early San Francisco days a lot. Like that's a lot of fun. But at the same time, like I'm having a blast here in Brooklyn. Just growing into who I am. I think I'm just figuring out who I am.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What do you mean? I mean, who are you?
I don't know. No. I think I'm a very grateful person to be alive right now, and experimenting with music right now with my podcast, The Cannabis Coffee Hour. I've been doing a lot more beats and dubs and just getting into music, man. And then I've been playing guitar badly, but I've been running my guitar through the beat machine, and I don't know. It's just it's a sad or crazy times in one way, but as a creative, it's kind of an exciting time right now.
So basically, you're saying who you are is a musician.
Yes.
And you know what? Comedy is like music. Your comedy is like music, actually, anyway,
Yeah. I can't say that I'm as trained as a musician, and probably somebody would smack me if I said I was a musician. And I did do a podcast with Don Will, And I was saying something like, because Rob, you're not a rapper. I was like, I was saying something, and I go, yeah, you're right. I'm a stand up.
No, I'm saying there's a musicality though to your stand up kind of, even, I mean, not having to do with music really, but I don't know, your inflections and stuff. There's a musicality to that, I think, at least,
Oh, thanks, man.
the way
I
you
mean,
stress things, there's a visceral, quality to it, I think, and I myself try to do the same thing, or
you
I think,
do.
I mean, I
You got
think,
a great rhythm.
well, I
You
think
got
it's that to me warrants replayability, so you can see the same. I think when comedians have that musical quality, you can see the same material over and over again and still get something out of it,
You're right.
I think, it's kind of like sometimes people say that, comedy is surprise, that you need, you have to be taken by surprise or something. But I don't agree with that at all, I mean, that's part of it. I mean, that's one way of doing it. But to me, great comedy is like songs that you want to hear over and over again. And I sometimes stuff is even funnier when you know where it's going, or you already know where the punchline is, but you start to now knowing where the punchline is going. Now the setup becomes funnier, and I don't know. I think that you can just good jokes you can just hear a bunch of times. You get more out of it every time you view it. So
Yeah, I agree, man.
so
But you
comedy
love stand up.
comedy is music,
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but well, look, let's just wrap up this main show, and then we'll do the bonus half hour. If people want to continue on with us, check out the Patreon. It's patreon.com/poundcast, POUNDCAST. In case you're wondering, that's what it used to be called, is the Poundcast. Actually, you kind of have some similarities to the guy I used to, do the podcast with. His name is. Do you know who DJ Doug Pound is, by any chance?
Yeah, I know DJ Doug Pound. I'm a big fan of those guys. I love Tim and Eric. I love that it's tone and texture, and those guys got a great tone and tech. They got their own thing cooking, man. And
Well,
and them
Doug.
bringing you into the fold, it fits with a lot of your tone and texture. So you guys, I was a fan. I watched the podcast, the Poundcast, as
Oh
well
yeah.
as I liked when your sister's on. I checked out
Oh, the
a few
chicken coop that I do
episodes.
with my sister. Yeah, she's really funny. But Doug he's similar age to you, and he used to break dance also, and I don't know. There's some similarity, but I kind of wish you guys could have met actually. But anyway, if you want to watch the podcast on video, you can go to youtube.com/at Brent Weinbach podcast. And anyway, Rob, what can people check out? What are you pushing right now?
Pushing the Cannabis Coffee Hour podcast. Check that out, the CCH podcast. It's on YouTube and Spotify. But also robcantrell.com. I have an album, Pure Uncut Joy, that's on Spotify. And I'm putting together a one-man show. So that's my next thing that I'm trying to push.
Okay. Yeah.
Have you done that yet, Brent?
I mean, I did. No, not really. I mean, I did Edinburgh one year, and
Mhm.
my show there was basically just bits of mine that were thematically similar. I mean, they fell under the same kind of theme. And one might have thought that was some sort of one man show, but it was really just me doing a stand up hour. I mean, with bits that were kind of related to each other, or kind of related or whatever. No, not really though. I mean,
You did. I mean, it's all the phrasing, I think, and
because it was there was not really nothing. Basically, my first special from 2017. That was basically my show that I did in Edinburgh, and I mean, I don't know.
What was it called, Brent? What was it?
Appealing to the mainstream,
Love it.
and it was all the bits mainly had to do with me somehow addressing or adjusting to some sort of uh, to some sort of in some way in order to sort of be more appealing to the mainstream or something like that. But really, there just was a bunch of bits of mine that were all I'd come up with at different times and put them all together in one thing. Actually, the truth of the matter is really they were just all my best bits from the 2000s. But anyway, so we'll see you all in the extended portion of the show, and if not, we'll see you next week. And thanks, Rob, for coming on.
Thanks for
And
having me, Brent. I appreciate it, man. So great to see you. I think you're hilarious and always been a good friend.
yeah, no, hey, like I said, you're one of my favorites. Super hilarious. Check him out. Local, see him live. You got to see Rob live. See the energy live. But yeah, that's it. I'm Brent Weinbach. See you next time. Bye bye.